what made wholesaling possible, and that's the deal finding part. What makes it impossible now? Let's eliminate that stuff. What is traditional wholesaling? So that was that deal back there. It was an exit strategy that allowed the middle person to basically sell the paper, sell the contract. So like this mouse is the house. This clicker is the contract to buy the house, okay? The house is over here on whatever that road that was, Green Lake, but I go and I sign this contract, this clicker to buy the house. Instead of me selling the mouse house, I sell this clicker to someone else. In that example back there, I would have sold this for 64, okay? And then in the middle would be our return. So I hope that makes sense. Break it down. People used to call it quick flips. I think there's some books that call it quick flips. Assigning contracts is the legal, like more legal definition of it. Because that was how we would, when I was selling this contract, I would sell it I would assign another piece of paper, and that's how this contract moved to the end buyer, okay? So that's where on that assignment, we would have our fee and the cost and all the expectation of who's paying what. That was all there, all right? So that's the bare bones traditional wholesaling, okay? Wholesaling has never been about real estate. And the fact that it became about real estate is why it's got regulated. Wholesaling, you can wholesale anything, guys. You wholesale mice, I don't know, multiple mouses. You can wholesale those. You can wholesale cups, right? The function of it is basically buying them at a discount and then reselling them higher in a retail marketplace, okay? So that's the function of wholesale. And unfortunately, that term in this real estate world, it actually is broken up and been changed. The definition has been more changed to not mean that exact thing anymore. So what it actually means for people, if you're listening to this, you know, it's that assigning contracts. But when you wholesale cups, the wholesaler actually buys it. They close on it. They buy it at a discount and then they sell it to the retailer. That is how that works. If you still do that, if you do that in real estate, no problems. Because what happens is the guy who buys all the cups, that wholesaler, he owns them and then he markets them to the retailers and they buy them from him or her, right? You could do that today. That's not what people started doing in wholesaling or in real estate. Started doing the contract swaps. It's not about real estate, it's about the pawn shop. It's about being able to find a discounted deal that someone else wants to buy, whether it's you, it's your partner, or it's someone out on the MLS, someone out there that's shopping for a house to live in or an investment, okay? So why do we call it a pawn shop? Because it's more about convenience and speed. Think about who uses pawn shops. Well, why would you go and sell your stuff to a pawn shop? There it is, fast money. That's why we sell our stuff to a pawn shop. Have I sold anything? I don't think I've sold anything to a pawn shop. Maybe I'll go try that. But anyway, people sell things to pawn shops because it's convenient and they get fast money. I just remember watching the show on the History Channel. These people go in there and it's crazy because they bring an appraiser and the guy's like, it's worth $20,000 right now if you sold it online, retail market. And the guy in the pawn shop's like, oh, great, I can sell it today for 20 grand. The person that has, the gold bar comes in and he's like, oh, it's worth 20. I guess I want 20. And that pawn shop guy's like, nope, you brought it to me. You want cash now. You want to walk out of here with money in your pocket? I'll give you 15. That's discount real estate. That's what you're providing, is speed and convenience and service for sellers that don't have other options or don't want to use other options, okay? So that's how you get the discount. The sellers are willing to trade some sort of equity for that speed and convenience, just like a pawn shop, okay? It requires the art of consistently finding discount deals. And that's what we're talking about, is the beginning piece, is being a good deal finder. It is an art, okay? There's some science to it, right? The negotiation skills, strategies, the marketing, but The art is what helps you get the leg up, okay? And no, you're not investing. If you're just doing the wholesaling, if you're just being a deal finder, that's not the investing part. The investing comes when you buy it, close on it, renovate it, or keep it as a rental.
Hey guys, real quick, it's Andrew, and thanks for listening. I just want to give you a couple of tips. Go over to dealfindersclub.com/resources to get more information on the things that we're talking about today, some downloads, and some links to some of our partners that can help you do your business better. And if you want to get connected and join us in some of our live events, check out the events page right there on dealfindersclub.com. And if you're ready to build, reach out through a message or chat with us through the website. You can find us there. And hey, as always, like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
Traditional wholesale, pros, of course, again, no cash required, no money required. Please just put a little capital in your business. Commit a little capital in your business. It goes a long way. You don't need that much. You don't need that much. Just hear me say that again. Send me a message if you want to know how much you might need or what the best way to spend that. Quick cash generation. The cool thing about traditional wholesale, the best thing about it was the cash cycle where you would get paid was really quick because investors wanted to close quick, the seller wanted to close quick. So within 30 days, typically you were getting income, okay? And you got to learn the market really fast because every time a seller would call us or we'd talk to a seller, I had to learn that neighborhood. I had to do comps. I had to figure out what was good, what was bad, streets, side of town, whether it had a flood or not, all that. And you learn it really fast. The tough part, and why I told y'all, if you have enough money in the bank to be a private lender, you don't need to be a deal finder because it's so labor intensive. It's also earned income, right? It's income taxed differently. Lots of moving parts, and that's why we hired a team. That's why we have a team that does our business, right? We have a bunch of people with these moving parts. Of course, the government regulations are difficult, and it's not investing in real estate. That is one of the biggest issues. So you really want to move from being a deal finder, keep deal finding in your business as you invest, but you don't want to just stay a deal finder. You want to be able to invest for that long-term wealth and cash flow generation. So diving into a little bit more of the wholesaling issues, I had to scratch that out. The legal ambiguities, it's not ambiguous anymore. They came and gave a definition, an opinion letter on the law in our state. In many other states have already had people test the law, right? So it's not ambiguous anymore. You have state regulations, you have city regulations. You have to follow those, and you're not going to fly under the radar anymore. If you think that you're just one person and they're not going to ever catch you, or you're not doing that much, I'm just telling you, they will. Just assume they will. That $5,000, $15,000, $20,000 assignment fee, marketing fee, or whatever. It's not worth it. It's not worth breaking the law. Okay, it's not worth that. So you have a lot of issues in there with the traditional wholesale method that you just don't want to mess with that. So this is why we go back to the beginning of what made wholesaling possible, and that's the deal finding part. And then what makes it impossible now? Let's eliminate that stuff.